Sewing a slit placket. Slit placket or slit facing placket is used in front or back necklines for a short opening as well as for sleeves openings. Objective: at the end of this class, you will be able to stitch a slit placket. Let us first familiarize with the tools and materials that you would need to stitch a slit placket on a sample piece of fabric. You would need cotton fabrics, pattern square, tailor's chalk, pins, shears, a pair of small scissors, contrasting threads, iron box, measuring tape, hand sewing needle, and a sewing machine. Now let's watch how to stitch a slit placket on a sample piece of fabric. Step 1. Measure, mark, and cut out required sample fabric pieces. At the outset, measure and mark 12 inches by 8 inches square on one layer of cotton fabric with the help of a measuring tape, pattern square, and a tailor's chalk. This will be the outer piece. Use shears to cut the marked area. For the facing piece, draw an 8 inches by 4 inches square on a single layer of a different color fabric. Please note, we are using a different color fabric for the facing piece for demonstration purposes only. Otherwise, we would use the same fabric as the outer piece. Use shears and cut the marked area. Step 2. Mark the fabric pieces and baste. Draw a 5 inches long line in the center of the wrong side of the outer sample piece. Then draw the same line on the wrong side of the facing piece, starting from a short edge. Now pin the two pieces with the right side together with the marked lines matching, one on top of another. Using a basting stitch, hand sew along the line. Remove the pins. Mark 1/4 inch on both sides of the center line and join the two marks at the bottom center in a V shape. Step 3. Start stitching. Start stitching with the reverse stitch to prevent a seam from opening. Stitch along the marked line, which forms a V shape with a normal stitch length. Please note, here we are using a contrasting thread for demonstration purposes only, so that it is visible, but otherwise one would use a thread matching to the fabric. At the peak of the V, stop the machine. Lift the presser foot and turn the fabric piece so that the second leg of the V will be in front of us. On the other line, stitch up to the top and end with the reverse stitch to prevent the stitch from opening. Snip the thread with a pair of small scissors. Step 4. Slash center line and remove basting. Use the small scissors and slash on the center line up to 1/16 inch at the peak point. Remove the basting stitches. Step 5. Turn and iron the fabric. Turn the facing to the wrong side of the outer piece and iron it gently to make out the edge. Step 6. Top stitch parallel to the edge. Top stitch 1/16 inch to 1/8 inch parallel to the edge from the right side. Step 7. Trim thread ends and iron the fabric. Trim the ends of the threads and iron it using an iron box. With that, we come to the end of this class. Let's recall what we have learned. You learned how to stitch a slit placket. Let's review its basic steps. Step 1. Measure, mark, and cut out the required fabric pieces. Step 2. Mark the fabric pieces and baste. Step 3. Start stitching. Step 4. Slash center line and remove basting. Step 5. Turn and iron the fabric. Step 6. Top stitch parallel to the edge. Step 7. Trim thread ends and iron the fabric. You have now learned how to stitch a slit placket. Take our next class to learn how to stitch a continuous placket.